This is You Against You podcast, and I'm your host, Deja Nicole. And if you are a new listener to You Against You podcast, hi, my name is Deja Nicole, and You Against You is a lifestyle and wellness podcast, and we're in season 3, which is all about romanticizing your life in some point of aspect. But let's just get into today's episode, which is season 3, episode number 14. And the title of today's episode is My Mid-Year Update plus How to Change Your Life in the Next 6 Months. So I'm going to talk about my mid-year update on from January to June. So now, even though it is June 28th, 2023, and then I'm going to go on to the other half of the episode on how to make the rest of 2024 your year, especially if the first half was not it. You felt like giving up, and just know, besties, to not give up on anything, because once you give up, it's going to be hard to get back to those things. But let's just get into today's episode, which we're going to start with the weekly updates. So first of all, the weekly updates is just me telling y'all how I've been throughout the week, or if I have not been doing an episode within 2 weeks, those 2 weeks. But let's just get into the weekly updates, because I didn't do it for last episode, because last episode was a guest episode, so we're going to do it for this episode. So my mental health checkup. So throughout this week, I have just been so drained and so burnt out, but the other half of me has been productive in a way that I can get things done. So I just finished 2 out of my 4 classes that I'm taking this summer. So 2 of my classes was from May 28th to June 28th, and one of my classes, I actually finished both of my classes like early, like a week early, because today is June 28th. But one of my classes, I was like being an overachiever, because I got 10 extra credit points if I finish all my homework, all my assignments, plus a paper. So the rest of my assignments for that class, and do a paper by the 25th of this month. And I did. And so I know I'm one of the 2 people who did that, because your girl need extra credit points no matter if she's passing or failing. And yeah, so I've been like so up trying to do homework, and then just me going to bed early, but still waking up tired. I think because I don't drink coffee every single day now, I'm getting that withdrawal symptoms of caffeine, which I low-key don't like. But the other half of me have been doing great, been doing good, I am starting a new novel out of the blue. It is a military romance novel. The guy I was talking to, hopefully after this case is over with my ex, which I'm going to talk about in today's episode. So just a warning, this episode does deal with domestic violence and SA in the beginning of the episode, so just know that's the trigger warning. But I have been thinking about writing a military romance story, and I'm just trying to finish planning it so I can start writing the epilogue. And I want to finish planning all my other stories, because I want to write all the epilogues, not epilogues, because that's the end, all the prologues of each novel. So yeah, the epilogue is the end, prologue is the beginning. So yeah, but that is like that. I just been very inspired to do a lot of things. Plus, with my YouTube channel, my main YouTube channel growing, it's just like the amount of views I have been getting on my latest video has been like very crazy. And I just want to thank you for anyone who does subscribe to my main YouTube channel. And I will actually get into all my social medias in a few, but just thank you. And that I'm almost at 1,000 subscribers. And once I do that, I am planning to do a giveaway. I just don't know what the heck to give away and when I want to do the giveaway. But once I find something to give away, I will do the giveaway. So just know that. But let's just get into the quote of today. So the quote of the day is, most people are comfortable staying in the exact same space they are now. The question is, are you? So this quote, I like find all my quotes and affirmation on the app called I Am for Affirmations and Motivation for my quotes. And this quote I can really relate to. I feel like I try to find quotes that I can relate to, and also that my listeners, you guys, can listen to, not listen, but relate to as well. I am someone who is an introvert. So, meaning, I like to stay in my shell. I like to stay in my space and not get out. I like to stay in my bubble, right? And I always been like that ever since I was younger. And, as a content creator, I always let my supporters know that, hey, I'm an introvert, but I'm also doing content. And the reason why I always mention that I'm an introvert, because there's a lot of introverts who wants to do content, because content creation is so big. I'm just going to let you know, please have a plan B, because you never know what can happen with content creation in the next 5 years. And this is literally my plan B. My plan A is after I graduate, I get a nice paying job. But being a content creator, I feel like from the past 3 years now, I really have been getting like out of my bubble, out of my shell, and I really love the feeling of it. I just love how I can inspire people in a positive way, no matter what. And it's fun. It's good. I like it. It's not for everyone. Just being brutally honest with you guys is not for everyone, because I feel like some people are just doing it to get rich, when it takes time, it takes dedication, it takes hard work, and you're just doing it for that. And if you're doing it for the wrong reasons, people will find out, and that you're not really putting the or the sparkle into your content. And I just feel like I've been doing this for years now, 3 years, almost 3 years, and I have seen my growth. And I'm going to say this: if you don't see your growth, and your viewers don't see your growth from when you started to how you are now, that means you're not growing, and it means that's not for you. I have known a lot of small creators who, what's the word? Like, they haven't grown. Like, I watch their content and I notice they don't grow. So just know, everything is not for everyone. But if you really want to become a content creator and you are an introvert, please get out your shell, because that's how, one, a lot of other introverts can relate to you, and then two, you can find a new hobby and do something you never thought you would like. So yeah. Now, the affirmation of the day episode is, I am confident that my journey will go as expected. Now, I love this affirmation, and sometimes I'm not confident, but if I tell myself that I am confident in the journey, well, I am confident that my journey will go as expected. I gotta put everything into God's hand. If I want my journey to be as I expect it, I have to put it in God's hand. I have to put it in His will power, because sometimes I ask God, why did this happen to me? Why can't I not be happy with this person? Why did you have to bring this person back into my life to me to not be happy? Is it just I have to wait until this is over, this and that? It's just like, I feel like God will always test you, and this is, I am confident that my journey will go as expected, and if I put it in God's hand, He will make it how I want it, or even how I never thought I wanted, but it would be 10 times better than how I want it and how I expect it. So yeah. Now, today's episode journal prompt is, what is 3 things that you're going to change in your life in these last 6 months? So what are 3 things that you're going to change in your life in these last 6 months? So yeah, and this can be those, there's like I don't know why I said toys, but you could have a list of 100 things, or 50 things, or 20 things or 15 or 10. Pick 3. Just pick the 3 major things that you want to change in your life within these last 6 months of 2024, because it will come fast and you will be like, wow, I didn't really change in these last 6 months, even though I told myself. So if you want your last 6 months of this year to be how you want it and to transform yourself into a whole nother person, make a list of things you want to change and start doing it. Make a routine for yourself. Do this, do that. Cut off some people, cut off some foods, cut off some habits, cut off this, cut off that. You've just got to start living the person that you want. And I hear this in a lot of podcasts and stuff, and I even heard this from one of my favorite YouTubers. So you probably heard me mention her a lot, and either if you watch my YouTube channel, I mentioned her even in my podcast episodes. So one of my favorite YouTubers are Natalie Kravas. If you heard of her, she's this lifestyle YouTuber. I really love her life, and I really love how she edits her videos. And I think I was watching one of her TikToks, and in the comments she replied to someone saying, how I live the life I want is because I view people who live that life that I always dreamed of living, and that's how I made it a reality. And how she also talked about how she cut off some people and this and that is so true. If you want to live the life that you want, you have to do some changes in your life. And if you really want to make some changes in your life, you have to be disciplined. But I'm going to talk more about that in today's episode. So before we start today's episode, don't forget that you can follow You Against You podcast on both Instagram and TikTok, which is You Against You pod.by Deja. You can follow me on my personal Instagram and TikTok, which is Deja, DAJAH _Nicole, NICOLE _ You can go subscribe to the You Against You podcast YouTube channel right now if you're watching this on YouTube. But if you're listening to this on Spotify, you can hit the follow button, because you can also follow people on Spotify, and leave a rating. And if you're listening to this right now on Apple Podcasts, you can leave a rating and review. And if you want to watch my videos, and if you like wellness, lifestyle, bookish videos, you can go subscribe to my main YouTube channel, which is Deja Nicole. Everything will be in the show notes down below, so go subscribe, follow, whatever you want to do. I've been so hectic with creating content to the point I have not been posting on my podcast, Insta, and TikTok. I'm about to make my whole life is hectic right now. So this episode is literally going to be my motivation to get everything together within these past 6 months. I want to create a new content creator Notion page for podcasting and personal, and I just need to get my life together and start using my planner again. So yeah. But also, if you want to buy some lip glosses that will make your lips soft for hours, you can go shop my business, Deja Nicole Beauty, and all the socials for that, and the link will also be in the show notes. But let's just get into today's episode, besties. So like I said, this is the first part of today's episode, and it does talk about some very serious things. Just a little trigger warning. If you know someone who has been in this situation, just know it's not their fault that they was in that situation, and to always check up on them, because for other people, they cope with a lot of things different than how I'm going to explain how I cope with this. And if you have been in this situation, you can always DM me and we can talk about each other's experience and try to uplift, because I'm going to say this, after this experience I'm going to talk about in today's episode, it doesn't bother me as it did at first, but there's some, I feel like in the next couple of days or weeks, whenever this is going to end, it's going to trigger me. But I try not to trigger, but if you are going through this situation, you can always DM me. Like I said, my socials are always in the show notes down below. But let's just talk about this episode. So, the first part of this episode, I'm going to talk about my mid year updates. So, this is difficult to talk about. So, the first thing I want to talk about is almost getting kicked out. So, yes, I almost got kicked out of February of this year, and around that time, which is my next topic that I am going to talk about, I was dealing with or was in a relationship. I was in this toxic relationship with my ex-boyfriend. So, long story short, because I don't really want to like talk about both topics long, and because I really want to get into how you can change your life in the next 6 months, in these last 6 months of 2024, but I was not myself. I was in a situation with my ex. We dated in November. We broke up in November. Then we also dated in February and broke up in March. And so after November, after we broke up and stuff, we still talked. And I blame myself for this. I really do. I was essayed is what I'm gonna say, because it's the better way to say it than saying it. But I was essayed by my ex, um, in December in his barracks. I am now going through the case, going through the whole process of me going through that whole traumatic experience. But I was also almost kicked out of my mom's house because we had an argument. And I say those two correlate with each other is because I was not right in the state of mind that I was, because I was holding that in. I was holding that in to myself to the point it really affected me mentally, and it kind of affected me how I was towards my family and how I was towards my friends and how I was towards myself. So let's fast forward to February to March. So I was dating this guy, and March came around. February, March happened, and it happened again. And I did say no, so like, yeah, I said no. And don't go in the comments, don't DM me and say like, why did you go back? It's a tendency I feel like a lot of women go through, that if they've been in that situation, they think that person will change because that person changed, that guy says he changed, but it can happen again. And because they do believe the guy who says, oh, I changed, they do go back and they never realize it will ever happen again. And this can happen in abusive relationships, it can happen in literally a lot of toxic relationships. And that's what I thought, because my ex said he changed, quote unquote change. And to be honest, I'm so happy that I'm here, because when I said I have held that in for the longest, and I was talking to one of my friends. I was talking to Katie. If y'all know Katie, I had an episode with her in this season, and I'm having planned to have another episode with her in the season. This after this is season 4, which I am now planning to plan what the topic is, this and that. And I I I was not myself. And it took me a lot of courage to say something. So I told my grandmother first. And after that, I felt like I had some type of relief after saying, like, this happened to me. And let me tell you, it's a whole process, the whole healing process of being that. And I'm not gonna say I'm completely healed, but I'm completely healed to the point I did started talking to someone, and that I did start to love myself, and that I didn't let it, like, I didn't let my ex control my mind still. But it was like a whole process, and I'm glad that I'm here, because let me tell you, if you hold that in, you can tell a few people. Like, I told my friends, but I didn't tell my family, and it took me a while to tell my family, because I feel like they would have judged me. And I'm so glad that I had a support system. And that I only told like my aunt, my mom, and my grandmother. So yeah, but I'm so glad that I had a support system. Now with the whole thing, how I'm feeling now about it, I'm glad that I'm here, and I'm glad that it's almost over. Meaning, I'm glad that I don't have to worry about him, because this case that I'm in is almost over. And I wanted that whole, after like reporting him, I just want it to be so over quickly, but I knew it's gonna take time. It took like a whole month, like yeah, a whole month I think, because I got updates like April, and I reported in March, so like a whole month of, okay, we're about to send it to the higher ups, to the prosecuting team, and it took me a whole month to know that the guy who's higher rank, because this is part of like the military, is dealing with the military, but the person who's higher rank, it's almost done in now making decisions. So Tuesday I am going to call the person who's going over the case, my case, and get updates. But that literally has really been something, and the relationship with my ex has been like completely toxic. There was like a few good moments, but the person was a narcissist. He was very controlling. I felt like I could never ever be myself. And just for anyone, literally, if ladies, you're listening to this, or if you're watching this and you have been in a situation, or you're going through that situation right now, you can always DM me. Like I said, all my socials are in the description box if you're watching this on YouTube, or just in the show notes. Just DM me, and I will, if you're not following me, I will see my request, and I will DM you right away and just ask you if you're okay. And it is hard, but I would say what really took me the courage to stop blaming myself, because I did blame myself. That was like the stage of everything that just happened, the grief, the denial, the wow factor of me blaming myself, and me blaming myself like, why did I give him a second chance? Why did I let this happen? I know it's not my fault, but I did. I literally told my therapist this, and all my friends, my therapist, and my family was like, it's not your fault. And if you're ever in that position, please, 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 please do not blame yourself. But yeah, that is like literally an update on half of the 6 months of 2024, the first. And I'm so glad that I'm still here, and that I can inspire people, because that is my goal, is to inspire people and be a positive impact in people's life, especially women. And yeah, and one day I will probably share this to the whole world and stuff, because especially someone who's been in the military, they like to hide that stuff. And no, I'm not in the military, but they really like to keep soldiers who've done those type of things, and say, well, she's lying. And yeah, but let's just get into the rest of the other half of 2024 so far. So like I said, college has been like very hectic, and I'm almost done. I graduate in August, so I got these two classes that start tomorrow, the 29th, and all I have to do is keep a schedule for myself, to make a schedule for time to do homework, studying, and also create content for you guys, no matter if it's for my YouTube channel, TikTok, Instagram, or even my podcast. But around the time of this, I did at one point want to drop out of college, because it was just so hectic, and I was dealing with a lot, and I was not myself mentally. But I'm so glad that once around this time, that whole, going through this whole process of just feeling that I don't belong on this earth, I got closer to God. And I'm so glad that I'm still closer to God, because sometimes God will put you in a position where it's dark, where it's scary, where sometimes you have to go towards him. And I'm happy that I'm here. Like I said, in college, sometimes I hate it, sometimes I'm sick of it. Sometimes I ask myself, why do I want to get a degree? But sometimes I have to remember to myself and remind myself and remember that, one, I'm a woman, right? I'm a woman. So how America view women, how they control our bodies, it's like I have to take a step because, one, I'm a woman, right? Two, I'm a person of color, and three, I'm a woman of color. So that's why I'm in college, because of those three main factors, and to literally do something good. And because I want to go to school, I'm in school right now for healthcare administration. I know that can still help people. I can be an advocate for someone. I can, there's a lot of things that I can actually do with my degree once I get it in August. And I'm so happy. I'm so happy. And sometimes college is hard. College is hard. If y'all didn't know, I wanted to do nursing first, but no. And so I switched my major to healthcare administration because there wasn't like a lot of concentrations, is what I'm gonna say, what my degree is under. Because my degree, like, if it has to be a part of like a category, is human health and performance. So there was not a lot of like concentrations, well, degrees on what you can get under in healthcare administration. Kind of like when I switched from nursing to healthcare administration, it kind of caught my eye, and I was like, I am kind of business savvy and an organized person, plus I still want to work in healthcare. So it has, like, it had its way out on what I wanted to do. So yeah. Now let's talk about my employment status. So I do work a part-time job, and after this we're gonna get into the rest of the episode. But I do work at a part-time job. I am a part-time personal assistant. I'm gonna say this, like, I don't like it just because the income is not steady and it is very stressful, but I do need the money and I have to do it. But I hopefully, because I can get a job with my associate's degree when I apply to a job. I'm not saying what it is, what position, this and that, but it pays so good. And for someone who doesn't have health insurance at the moment, that needs health insurance, it will cover like all of that. But I am a part-time personal assistant, and like I said, I feel like it's just not for me. Just because I can do this many hours but still get paid $100 for doing more hours, and what I do need more, like how much I pay. So yeah, and I don't even know when I'm gonna get paid because the person asked me how many hours and I told them how many hours. And yeah, so I don't like being a personal assistant, well, for this person at least, but that's just like my employment status. But let's just get into the other half of today's episode, besties. Okay, besties, now let's just get into the second half of today's episode, which is how to change your life in the next 6 months of 2024. So I'm literally going to try to explain everything around 2 minutes, because I don't know if I want to make this podcast episode long or not, but according to where I stopped, it might be long. But let's just get into this second part of today's episode. So the first thing, we are about to hit the 7th month in a few days of 2024. Like, July happens on Monday, and this episode is going to be out on Sunday, right? So if you want to go grab a notepad and a piece of like paper, so a notepad or a piece of paper, or type this on your phone, and you want to grab something to write with as well and take some notes. So the first thing that I feel like what I want to do which I try to do this, and sometimes it is hard to do this. But the first thing is to change your mindset and change how you view and talk to yourself. So the reason why I said this can be so hard for some people, like myself, like I'm not gonna like lie to you and be like, no, this is so easy. You can like change how you view yourself like that. Like, no, it is hard. It is hard. Because some people, it is easy to look at themselves in the mirror and be like, well, I look beautiful. I like how my body is. But for some people, it is hard. It's sometimes hard to talk positive about themselves because they always talking negative about themselves. And I feel like the reason why it is hard is because of their environment, is because who they're friends with, is because what they're listening to, is because what they watch. I kid you not, if I am watching something like on TikTok or Instagram or even YouTube and it's something negative, I try to find the button that says not interested. I kid you not. And the reason why I said I always like press that button, and why I say that is because when you press that button, so if you're like on social media, you're scrolling on TikTok, you're scrolling on Instagram, or if you're even trying to find a video that you're trying to watch and you press the button I'm not interested, it can tell those apps to stop recommending you similar videos like that. And sometimes that can be helpful. Actually, most of the time it is helpful. And I like watching TikToks that is talking about how to better yourself. I even like watching TikToks that are funny. The reason why I like watching TikToks that are funny, because I feel like when I laugh, my whole mindset in my mind has just flipped that switch so quickly from like negative to positive, and to the point I start thinking of myself positively than negatively. But sometimes you have to look at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself that you're beautiful, and tell yourself that you're going to have a good day, and tell yourself that you're the most beautiful girl in the world. Even though some people might not think that, but if you think that, that is the only opinion that matters. It's your opinions against anyone else. And I feel like we try to validate other people's opinions, and I'm like that as well. Like sometimes I ask like people like on Instagram, should I do this or should I do that? Should I wear this or should I wear that? Like I even asked my best friend, should I do this or should I wear that or do that? Like we just validate people's opinions because that's how the world wired us to be, when in fact we shouldn't want to validate other people's opinions. The next thing you want to do if you want to change your life in the next, well, last 6 months, or whenever you are listening to this episode, it could be the next 6 months, but if you're listening to this around the end of June, so once it comes out, and July is the next 6 months, the last 5 to 6 months, but whenever you're listening to this episode for the next 6 months, reflect on the last 6 months. Get a piece of paper or just write it in your journal and ask yourself, how was your life? How were you? How was this person that you were in the last 6 months? And you can put each month: January, February, March, April, May, June. And it does take a lot of thinking. It does take a lot of thinking, and it takes you to deep down dig since January of the beginning of the year to February and March. You probably won't forget about April and May because they kind of recent, but January, February, March, it will take a lot of digging and for you to do a lot of thinking, but you just need to write down and reflect how you were the last 6 months. And I might actually do this tonight after I record my video for YouTube, but you just want to reflect that. And once you reflect how you were, it can really help you know that you don't want to be that type of person anymore. And sometimes it does take a lot of work for some people, and it does take longer for some people to become a whole new person that they want to be. And for other people, it does take shorter time for them to transform and be a whole nother person than they used to be. The next one is goal setting, because I feel like if you don't have goals, you're not really chasing after something. You're not really having a purpose in life. But that is my opinion. I feel like everyone should have goals, no matter if they're big goals or small goals. And if there are big goals or even small goals, even. Yeah, you can like break them down and have sub goals, which can help you obtain those big goals with the steps. The next one is decluttering, is something that I did recently. I literally had like two Goodwill bags and some things that I need to take to Goodwill, and my mom took them like a couple, maybe last week actually. And sometimes decluttering your space can help you also declutter your mind. Or if you want to declutter your mind, just get a piece of paper or open your journal and just brain dump, which can really help you declutter your mind so you have a fresh, clear mind to think new ideas for something big that you always wanted to do. The next thing which I want to do is creating a new routine for yourself. I feel like this is something that I feel like everyone should do. So if you do have a set stone routine for yourself, ask yourself what is something that you want to add to it, or what is something that you want to take out in it. But if you don't have a routine for yourself, ask yourself what can you do to make your life more at ease and more comfortable for you, and what should you do in the morning and what should you do before you go to bed to let you have a nice and at ease life. I feel like everyone should have a routine for themselves, but it is hard for some people because they work or they're always doing something in life, and they always moving fast pace, when sometimes we just have to take a step back and try to slow down a bit. Because yes, even though time is moving so fast and life is moving so fast, we should still enjoy life and take it slow sometimes, because when we rush things, we will miss out on a lot of things like opportunities, or big opportunities, like I said, opportunities, or miss out on life events of other people's or even ourselves. So sometimes I feel like making a routine for yourself can literally help you not be so fast paced in life, and to not rush through things, even though we have other things that want us to rush through things, but in fact we shouldn't. The next thing is self care. I feel like everyone should have a designated day to self care. I feel like Sunday or Mondays are my self care days. I like to do a face mask no matter what it is. It's just my way of self care. I am watching this new show on Netflix, by the way. I feel like even just sitting down sometimes and taking a breather and watching a show that you never watched before, or you are rewatching your favorite show since you was like little, is a form of self-care. So the show that I am watching on Netflix, I'm about to like give y'all the name of this. So I have heard this show once first through my favorite YouTuber Natalie Cuevas, but then my mom watched it, and I feel like if you like horses, you will like this show. So the show is called Heartland, and I'm almost done with season 1. I'm just not a big like person who can like sit down and watch TV, but I sometimes watch TV if I'm reading. So yeah, I multitask. I will read and watch TV, or if I'm cleaning. But sometimes if I don't feel like doing anything at all in the day, I will sit down and watch TV. And I'm really liking this show so far, and it's sometimes like I feel like I'm so glad that I got into a new show, because sometimes I can watch a show that I think I like, but at the end of the day I don't like it, because the first couple of minutes in the first season, or the first episode, I mean. And that's how I am. Like, if I don't really like something within the first episode, I'm not going to finish the show, or it will be there in my continue to watch like this no matter what platform it is. But if I'm really bored and I don't feel like watching my favorite shows, or if I already watched my favorite shows and just finished watching my favorite shows, no matter if we watch a new season, or they watch the whole season or the whole series, and I just want to take a break, I will literally go to my continue watch list, or the show might just pop up in my head out of nowhere. The show that like I started watching but never liked, and just watch it. And yeah, but watching TV or like a movie is like a form of self care for me. The next thing, which I'm planning to do so much better soon, is budgeting. I feel like, especially in this economy, budgeting, I feel like everyone should try to learn and try to master. I'm bad with money, like that is the truth about me, and I want to get better. I literally have so many finance books that I actually am planning to probably reread in July and August, but not really add it to my TBR list because it's going to take me a while to read them. And if I don't like, if I finish my TBR list early, I'm going to read that. But I want to get better with money and save a lot more better, and to just know that sometimes you shouldn't always want to buy something that you see. And I feel like I have impulse shopping, which I hate because it's like, why did I buy this? Like, there has been clothes that I have sent to Goodwill, and I ask myself, why did I waste money on this? Why did I thought I would wear this or use this? I will say this. The only thing I would probably do is, like, if I'm at Ross and I see a cute purse, I will use it because I most likely will change that purse, the purse that I'm using, to the purse I just bought. Like, I bought this Guess purse from Ross like a few months ago, and I switched my purse like that because I knew I was going to use it. And plus, I'm a person who likes small purses better than big purses, and it's a small purse. So yeah. The next thing is to eliminate toxicity. So this can be relationships, friendships, relationships like dating. This could be things that you're listening to. This can be things that you are watching. This can be things that you are reading. Whatever that is having your mind in a dark place where you can't think straight and all you think is bad things. Ask yourself why you're thinking these bad things. Is it what you are surrounding yourself with people? Is this what you're like reading, or is it what you're listening to, like a podcast or a certain type of artist or a certain type of genre of music? Whatever it is, ask yourself that question. And then if you can't find whatever is toxic that you are surrounding yourself with or listening to, eliminate with your life, like from your life, not with, but eliminate it from your life, and you will see a change within yourself. The next thing, which like I said, like I have so many self-help books, but is to expand your knowledge. I feel like I'm always learning something new, no matter if it's like on a YouTube video or a TikTok, because I like watching information like TikToks. Plus I like history, so I feel like I'm always learning something new, but I always like love learning. I feel like you should never want to stop learning. I feel like learning is a luxury, which is so true. I saw something on TikTok like yesterday, like how I hate going to school, or I hate going to college, or I just hate learning, but at the end of the day, some people really have to pay for it, or they only get like a small amount of good information or learning for like a small amount of time for like 1 or 2 days, and they would never ever learn it again. So it's technically a luxury. So I feel like learning is a luxury because we have so much resources, especially if you live in the States or Canada. We have so much resources that we can learn from books, from the web, from social media. And a lot of people, especially who lives in third world countries, do not even have access to the internet, or books about finance, or books about health, or books about investing, or trying to better your mindset. Like, we have the resource, even though sometimes we do have to pay for it, but we have the resources at our fingertips, like our phones or our computers or our iPads or tablets. We have the resource to it, and it is a luxury to learn. So never stop learning, because you will always learn something from someone or from somewhere. You just never know that you learned something until it dawned on you. So the next thing is setting boundaries, and this is something that I feel like a lot of people have trouble with, is setting boundaries with friends, within families, with co-workers, with acquaintances. Always set boundaries, because if you're going to allow people to set like cross your boundaries, they're going to think that is okay. And it is hard for me to set boundaries, but once you set boundaries, people would know, like, yeah, this will make her happy or him happy, whoever you list, like however you identify who's listening to this or watching this. Just set boundaries, and it can really better yourself when you set boundaries and not let people to cross that line, because sometimes we do let people cross that line, and we let people cross that boundary and we don't notice, but we do notice, but we never say nothing because we are someone who don't like to argue. I am one of those people, but we don't like we're probably that person who don't like to argue and who just want to leave it how it is. But if you leave it out how it is and you let people to continue to cross their boundaries, it's going to hurt you mentally, and you do not want to put yourself in that hole which you're digging yourself, and it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger when someone is crossing your boundaries. The next thing is executing goals. So this is, back to goal setting. Executing your goals will help you really make this year, well, the rest of the year, better. This can be like whatever, whenever you are, I'm trying to think how to, hold up. Okay, whenever you like, whatever goal it is, it can be whatever. It can be getting your license. It can be getting your permit. It can be getting in a place. It can be getting this job or studying TikTok or any type of social media platform, or saving this amount of money. Whatever that goal is, if you have it written down, it's most easy to look at it, and it's most easy for you to execute it. Just remember to always have a plan to help you to execute that goal, because it's a starting point and an end point when you make a plan to execute that goal. And the last thing is to embrace discomfort. So this is back to like my quote that I have shared in the episode, which is, most people are comfortable staying in the exact same place they are now. Are you? So I feel like embracing discomfort can really help you embrace and change who you are as a person. It can also help you find new hobbies or new things that you never knew about yourself. It can help you open more doors. It can help you find new opportunities in your life. Just getting out your comfort zone. Yes, it is hard. It is hard. It is uncomfortable. We have to be uncomfortable to try new things, okay? I'm an introvert who does social media. And let me tell you, when I first started doing YouTube, it was hard. It was hard sitting in front of camera like this. Like, my first couple of videos that I did on YouTube was me sitting in front of a camera doing sit down videos or doing like a little haul. But I was sitting in front of my camera for my first couple of YouTube videos, and it is hard. It is very hard to do that sometimes. It is hard to pretend that you're sitting or standing in front of people. And for someone who have done like class projects in high school and did theater in high school, I was still stepping out of my comfort zone for that. Talking in front of the class in high school. I never really did that in college besides like my biology class, where I like literally raised my hand to help the teacher do this experiment. But that's about it. But getting out your comfort zone can really help you open new doors for you, and it can really help you transform into another person that you never thought you can be. This is like something new. Not new, but I feel like everyone should know, but they don't know where to start. You heard that saying is put a foot in the pond or like put a toe in a pond, whatever, but you're stepping in the pond, you are stepping in water. And once you step one foot in, you're going to step the other foot in, and you're there, you're standing in water. Now all you have to do is swim. For people who are scared to swim or don't know how to swim, I'm that type of person, but that's not the point of this episode or this last topic. But getting out your comfort zone and being uncomfortable is hard. And once we're uncomfortable doing something new, we want to get back in our shell. We want to get back in our rock. Or we want to get back in our little space and never come back out. But in fact, you shouldn't. You want to go. And once you take another step and take another step, it will be better. I'm going to tell you this. If you are someone who wants to create a podcast, you can always DM me. It is hard sometimes. Or just create content. It is hard, especially if you're a shy person. But once you do it, you would like it. Like I said, it's not for everyone. But I feel like if you want to do it, especially filming in public is hard. I have filmed in public until I'm gonna tell you it's still hard. I was watching one of my favorite YouTubers, and they say, even though I've been doing this for years, it's still weird and it's still awkward to film in public, but I have to do it for you guys, and it's hard. It is very hard to film in public, but just do something that you always want to do, but you have been so shy to do it. Do it, because it could open a lot of opportunities for you, and it can open a lot of doors for you as well. And you just have to learn that sometimes getting out of our comfort zone and feeling uncomfortable doing something can really give us a happy ending and a new result into our lives, or help us find a new hobby. Especially if you're someone who likes to do hobbies, it can really show you a new hobby that you never thought you would love, but you do love doing it. And I'm so glad that I bought a camera. This camera that I'm using, I bought it once I got fired from my last job back in 2022. And I was like, okay, let's do my first video. Sat down, got my desk chair, put it in front of my bed, put my camera, put my ring light, and then I pressed record. Even though it took me a lot of takes to do it, I did it, and the rest is history, and I'm almost at 1,000 subscribers. And all it does take is you getting out your comfort zone, which can open up a lot of doors and get you out your shell, but also you can become a whole nother person once you get out your comfort zone. So yeah, but now let's just close down today's episode, besties. So, oh no. So today's episode is at a close, is at an end. I don't know why I just said that, but I don't know. But I really do hope that you like today's episode, besties. I really do hope that both parts of today's episode really relates to you in some point. I feel like I want my content to relate to someone, because I want that to happen. I want my content to like inspire someone to than just making content, for no reason at all. So I really do hope that you like today's episode. Before we close down today's episode, again, the quote of the day is, most people are comfortable staying in the exact same place they are now. Are you? And there's a question mark at the end. The affirmation of the day is, I am confident that my journey will go as expected. And the journal prompt of today's episode is, what is 3 things that you're going to do to change your life in 6 months? Again, you can follow You Against You podcast on Instagram and TikTok, which is You Against You pod.by-Deja. You can follow me on my personal Instagram and TikTok, which is Deja, DAJAH _Nicole, NICOLE _ both of those, both my podcast and personal social medias will be in the show notes down below. If you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, don't forget to leave a rating and review. If you're listening to this on Spotify, the journal prompt question is the question, the Q&A question, and don't forget to leave a rating. If you want to watch or check out my YouTube channel, and you like anything from lifestyle wellness type content or bookish content, go subscribe to my main YouTube channel, which is Deja Nicole. That will be in the description box down below. If you want to buy yourself a lip gloss or a friend a lip gloss, my business will be in the show notes down below. But I really do hope that you like this episode, besties. I'm like kind of tired and I gotta continue recording. But I really do hope that you like today's episode, besties. And remember, it's you against you, not you against the world. And I'll see y'all in the next episode. And I love you guys. Bye.